Enterprise IT leaders are trying to contain the rising costs of generative AI, but the tools they are relying on are about to be swept away by the scale of the problem. Right now, CIOs are opening up the same FinOps playbook they sharpened over the last decade to manage their cloud infrastructure. They are deploying usage dashboards. They are generating monthly showback reports for department heads. They are enforcing token caps per team, routing requests to smaller models, and assigning dedicated FinOps owners to monitor the alerts. Those are sensible, disciplined tactics. But recent data from Bain & Company exposes a mathematical paradox at the center of this strategy. Look at this line chart mapping the price of a model token between December 2024 and December 2025. Over a single year, the unit price of AI reasoning dropped by roughly half, but the total enterprise bill skyrocketed. While prices fell 50%, the sheer volume of tokens consumed grew by 4.5 times. Every tool in the cloud-era FinOps kit operates entirely on the leader. They track the price per token, they throttle the tokens per user, and they determine who gets billed. But none of those tools ask the prior question: should this token have been spent at all? They monitor the meter, but they ignore the workload. You cannot dashboard your way out of an exponential volume curve. When the workload itself is the root cause of the spend, applying cloud-era accounting tools is a trap. That 4.5 times volume growth is only the baseline. It represents the starting point for a much larger shift toward autonomous agents. Autonomous AI agents do not just answer single prompts. They retrieve context, orchestrate plans, and take multi-step actions. Completing one task via an agent can require 50 times the compute of asking a chatbot a simple question. This projection graph shows exactly where that leads. Goldman Sachs estimates that as enterprises adopt these workflows, agent token consumption will rise 24 times over the next 4 years and spike 55 times by 2040. Against a multiplier like that, routing to an open source model or tightening a team's token cap is mathematically insufficient. You cannot outrun 55 times volume growth just by getting a little cheaper per call. Cloud-era FinOps achieved its biggest wins through re-architecture. You saved money by right-sizing services and deleting idle instances to remove waste entirely. AI cost control is currently stuck on step 1, gaining visibility. It needs to move to step 2, which is physically changing the workload. The AI equivalent of deleting the idle instance is blunt. You have to stop running language models for decisions that never needed open-ended intelligence in the first place. To survive the agentic multiplier, you cannot just monitor the work. You have to structurally remove specific types of execution from the AI token economy entirely. A massive share of that compounding volume comes from a single hidden source: agents using tokens to redecide the exact same thing over and over again. This architectural flaw is called repeatable reasoning. Think about the core decisions running your business. Is this customer eligible for a discount? Does this specific transaction require local tax? Which department should this contract route to based on its clauses? Those are rigid, deterministic policy executions. They are not the open-ended reasoning tasks that large language models were built to solve. Yet, in a typical agentic design, the agent retrieves the policy document, reads the passages, reasons through the criteria, generates a result, and explains it. And the meter spins for every single step of that process. And then the next identical case arrives, and the system pays to do the exact same work again. It is the most expensive way imaginable to apply a rule you already know. The cost is only the first problem. The secondary consequence of running policy on the meter is probabilistic variance. Because LLMs are probabilistic, the exact same policy case might yield a different answer tomorrow just because of a slight change in prompt wording, a hidden shift in model behavior, or a vendor update. When answers drift, agents talk to other agents to retry, clarify, and re-explain the output. That variance directly inflates the compounding token volume. Using a language model as the execution engine for a standard business policy creates a system that is wildly expensive, inherently inconsistent, and unacceptably high risk. The solution is an architectural separation. You have to divide the act of interpreting a policy from the act of executing it. This flowchart illustrates the traditional pattern. The policy document, the specific case data, and the prompt all flow directly into a central LLM reasoning node to generate a decision. Every single transaction is forced through this heavy, probabilistic reasoning step. This equation defines the trap. Your cost equals the number of decisions multiplied by the context size, multiplied by the reasoning depth, multiplied by the vendor's model price. That math leaves the enterprise entirely exposed. You are trapped by token inflation, context bloat, and total reliance on the LLM provider. Now look at the Sertainly pattern, which turns policy reasoning into a governed software asset. Here, AI is restricted strictly to compile time. It assists in reading and translating the source policy into tests and structured rules, creating a compiled, deterministic decision package. At runtime, the LLM is completely removed. The data passes through the compiled package via a standard API. Look at how the equation changes. Cost now equals the compiled package execution plus ordinary API infrastructure. The financial outcome is immediate. The cost of executing the decision stops scaling with volume. Whether it runs once or 1,000,000 times, the execution cost is flat. By isolating AI to the build phase, the enterprise successfully decouples its operational scale from the generative token economy. This architecture is designed to integrate with AI agents, not replace them. In this model, the agent functions as an orchestrator, collecting facts and conversing with users, while being physically separated from the policy engine. Here, the agent encounters a business rule and delegates the work, sending the query to the decision API. The API bypasses probability entirely. It returns exact, structured criteria to the agent: the result, the reason code, the audit trace, and the policy version. Delegating the decision provides the agent with hard mathematical guardrails. It physically prevents the model from hallucinating compliance or improvising tax law. It also hands operational control back to the enterprise, guaranteeing an inspectable audit trace linked to a specific version-controlled policy. A deterministic decision layer provides the governance necessary to move AI from sounding confident to being safe enough for core enterprise workflows. The hardest part for CIOs right now isn't tracking the spend on their dashboards. It is proving the business outcome attached to that spend. A variable cost LLM call gives leadership neither a knowable unit price nor a governed, inspectable output. It leaves the enterprise guessing on its return on investment. A deterministic API delivers both. You get a fixed cost per call and a guaranteed auditable business result that you can actually point to. Keep paying for open-ended intelligence where tasks genuinely require it, but for the basic application of business rules, stop metering the execution. Compile the policy once and let it run. That is the true foundation of AI FinOps. Reason once, decide millions of times.